Let me go to that tweet that you're talking about. Dear Texas, per MSNBC, you're running out of morgue space. You're on lockdown. Remember, you voted for Trump. Remember, Texas voted for Trump. Yeah. So I replied like this. What did he win? He was like 6 points. You have a majority. You have blue counties all across Texas. So I mean that even on that front, not that it should fucking matter, but yeah,
It's fucking nonsense. Like, what kind of a sicko would make that kind of just it, you guys don't deserve to win because a majority of you voted for the other guy. It's like
right.
you guys don't deserve to live, right?
Yeah,
It's just nuts that he wouldn't think twice before tweeting that, and that nobody would tell him not to tweet that, and he gets all those likes on it. How many likes
right.
did he get?
I mean, let me
Like, who's liking that? Like,
who
seriously.
who the fuck
Like,
thinks that partisan and that much of a that
yeah,
much of a shit lib mindset that
but
you
who's
come over
dumb
here
enough that you don't?
31,000
Yeah, and you don't
31,000.
think like every state, even in the reddest red states, it's still like I don't think he won any state by more than like 10 points, right? Like
No.
even like Alabama. So still 40% of the country didn't vote that way,
Yes.
and that's the half of the country that votes. Most of the country doesn't vote, you know. So like, say, I mean, this year was record turnout. So let's say it's like 60% of the adults voted this year.
Mm-hmm.
So half of that 60% plus the other 40%, it means 70% of the state didn't vote. I mean, didn't vote for him, right?
Yeah.
It's basically only like a third of the state voted for him, and you're gonna like condemn them to death because why? It makes you like your liberal fifis feel better or something.
I mean, I
It's
guess,
just
but
it's just such a bad like that's why they don't like Democrats. You know, like that's why people don't like liberals because of shit like that. You know, and they're completely justified too, right?
yeah. And well, this is what I ended up putting. So I got people I care about who are frontline workers. So fuck any shit lives playing partisan games saying Texas deserves what happens to the people here because Democrats can't find a way to flip the state. People are goddamn dying, and not that it matters. But my city goes blue every fucking time. It really
Yeah,
does. And see, when people
exactly.
go
It's
and
the
they say shit, they
Democrats'
say like
fault
this:
that they
Florida deserves this, Texas deserves that. But I
like
mean, that's not the way COVID works. Doesn't give a fuck where
that's
your
just
party
them like
alignment is.
blaming the voters, right? Instead
Yes,
of blaming the
yes, that's
politicians
exactly what it
because
is.
what you would do is attack the politicians for failing their constituents,
Yes,
and then you could also blame the Democrats for not spending enough money to, like
or
organize in
doing anything
Texas,
that could actually
like my
fucking
homie
work.
Beto was saying, right?
Oh right, so so let's go to Beto since you're bringing up my former representative who's an absolute douchebag. Um, yeah, like slowly but surely we're gonna turn around that whole perception of his ass too. And we do have a little bit of an update on the story from yesterday I wanted to go into, but so this is the latest email from Bet on My Stork. Um, here you go. Some of my thoughts based on conversations from this week. The asymmetrical advantage that Trump and the GOP had this cycle in Texas is far more powerful than any of us understood. And I think it begins to explain Republicans' incredible performance on Tuesday night. The ability to campaign free of truth, examples abound, especially along the border of social media and texting campaigns that
That's
trafficked in
that's
lies and scare
fucking
tactics.
that's a liberal dog whistle
Mm-hmm.
for saying that these dumb voters, they don't know better and they're susceptible. These dumb voters down on the border are susceptible to Republican misinformation.
Well, the thing is, if you're allowing the point that I think AOC made better that he's saying is
Yeah,
that
AOC definitely made all these points better.
right, what is that if you allow Republicans to go ahead and set whatever messaging they want unchallenged, then people are going to buy into it. And I don't think I don't think you're necessarily stupid
And
to buy that.
those shit libs, they thought, oh, they're Hispanic, they'll definitely vote Democrat.
Yes, and that's
That's
what,
literally
and that's
what they
exactly
think.
the
We don't
gamble
have to
that
go
they
down
took
there.
was
Yeah.
we don't have to go and reach out to Hispanics because they don't have anywhere to go and they'll just vote for us anyway. It's the
And
same
it's
thing
like,
that they do to the black community
it's so
too.
fucked up. They had $1 billion, right? Or billions of dollars. They had plenty of money to do that.
Right.
But they didn't because they give it to the same handful of consultant agencies who buy ads from each other and
Mm-hmm.
get a kickback because you get 10% right? When you book an ad, I think 10 or 15%, I forget
Right.
what it is, but like they hire these shitlib consulting firms, and then they go to the state where they're trying to win, and then they make deals with the TV channels there, get the ads on, and then they get a commission for the price of it. So if you spend $1
Right.
million on ads, these guys get 100K. So that's what they want to put all of the money in every single race. They just want to do more and more TV ads because they get the commission from it. That's
Right.
what AOC was saying about like the Facebook and the online operations are shit because they don't have a commission for that. It's just
Right.
it's so fucked up, man. It's
Yeah.
so depressing. Like that's really the state we're in. Like you can't
So
you
so
can't even run a good campaign. Like not only is your messaging shit, but you are just that devoted to the grift that you're
Mhm.
gonna do that and just don't care if it succeeds because you're gonna get rich off of it.
Yep. So here's the part that talks about El Paso specifically. So the fact that the border from the Rio Grande Valley to El Paso has been ignored for years by the National Party and even by statewide Democratic candidates hurt us badly. The failure to invest in year-round canvassing so voters don't just hear from us during an election also made it hard for us to move voters at the end. Coupled with the effective disinformation campaign conducted via text and social media by the GOP and the very dire economic circumstances that made people more receptive to direct economic message of the GOP. Biden will kill your oil and gas jobs. Trump will save them. Biden will close down the economy. Trump will reopen it. That begins to explain Trump's phenomenal performance in the Texas border counties that happen to be 85 to 95% Mexican American. Some lessons that should inform future work that I take from all this. Nothing beats meeting your voters eyeball to eyeball. We should always find a way to canvass directly at the voter's door. There's a safe way to do this, even in a pandemic. Let's see what else we have. We should be talking to voters year round. Not just the quick hits to determine partisanship or gain a commitment to vote or to turn someone out to vote. We should be having open-ended conversations with voters about what is important to them throughout the year. Every year, organizations like the Texas Organizing Project have been doing this and have been winning races in places like Harris County. Here we go. We have to be far more effective on digital and social media.
Wait a minute.
Which one?
You skipped that section.
Which one? The central messaging?
The central messaging that many Democratic candidates felt obligated to adopt because they believe that funding and other support from Democratic organizations was contingent on it doesn't work. If you're running for office, you should know why, and you should be able to articulate that. You should also be constantly talking to and listening to the people in your district to understand their needs, concerns, hopes, and dreams. Understand why your victory would be their victory. If your why and their why are not reflected in your own words that you came up with yourself, then you're not going to connect with voters. People are smart. They smell a focus group tested message, talking points derived from polls, a campaign driven by consultants from a mile away. Yeah.
Yep.
Like, is that so hard to understand? You have to do the bare minimum of work if you expect to win these offices.
Right.
If you expect to win an election, you have to have your own talking points and you have to be able to say what you're doing it for.
Right.
And not just this fucking decency, soul of America shit.
No. And
better. I mean, he doesn't say it, right? He's dancing around it, but like
and I guarantee you he didn't meet half the shit.
Message
yeah,
there.
but
that's what he's saying.
And I guarantee he didn't meet half the shit that AOC met for saying the exact same thing better. But
of course, because he's Beto.
Yeah, so
right?
let's go to
he's
the next
the fucking
one.
Golden boy.
So we have to be far more effective on digital and social media. The anecdotal takeaway from those that I listen to, especially in border communities, is that Trump and the GOP had a ferocious game, lies and powerful memes, and effective targeting of new and young voters, and we had none. Yes.
Yeah.
That's where you get this whole thing about the left can't meme, which they lump us into, which, fuck you, we can meme. We've got to show up everywhere. Be there for everyone, especially in places that are hard to get to, especially for those whose votes have been taken for granted in the past. El Paso, Del Rio, Eagle Pass, Laredo, Roma. Yeah, I mean, all these are border towns, and like El Paso is one of the largest border cities. We have a majority Hispanic population here. We're probably one of the largest cities that has a majority Hispanic population. Mm-hmm. And, one of the... And Biden didn't come through here. We didn't have Kamala Harris come through here. Bernie came through here. And guess what? Mm-hmm. Guess who voted for Bernie in the primary? El Paso came out to
No.
vote for him.
Well, it's like
And
Chuck
they
Rocco
remembered
was
that.
saying. He keeps saying over and over again whenever he gets a microphone, you need to go meet them. You need to go knock on their doors. You need to run advertisements in their local papers. You need to actually canvass the voters. You can't just say, "Oh, you're
Yes.
brown, you're going to vote for us."
Exactly.
And that's definitely what they've been doing for
this is a
decades.
This was a killer tweet though. Check this one out. Pretty sure by internet rules, Beto O'Rourke is the man who repeats what AOC and Ilhan Omar said in the meeting, but louder in a shower with praise while they're ignored.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much the way that shit shakes out. Because look, for and I know I have a thing about making AOC a mainstay of every episode, but she's been on a fucking tear
she's the
about
leader of the left right now for all intents and purposes.
That's
right?
exactly the situation that we're in.
Mic.
We cannot go ahead and, which is what I said, we can't keep relying on Bernie to be the only person standing out there for progressive values. And I'm glad that she's stepping up into that leadership